Hi, everybody, and welcome to our Cyber 5 results webinar. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Erin Cummings. I am the channel partner manager here at NetElixir, and I will be your host for the day. So today we are going to go through a quick introduction before we jump into the long-awaited numbers. I'm going to start by just telling you all a little bit about who we are here at NetElixir. So we are a full-service digital marketing agency that allows e-commerce brands to find and engage high-value customers and acquire game-changing insights. And the way we do this is through a full suite of e-commerce growth solutions, which you'll see on the left side of the screen. On the right side of the screen, you'll see our very proud partnerships. We have been UPS partners for over 6 years. We are a Google Premier partner, Microsoft partner, as well as we have a partnership with Neeva. On the bottom of the screen, you'll see some of our clients. We have experience in everything from food to fashion, and here to help you reach your e-commerce goals. As a reminder, after the webinar today, you will be, a short survey will pop up on your screen. We ask that you just take 1 minute to complete that. Let us know your thoughts, let us know if you enjoyed it, and also make sure to share on social media and let everybody know that you were the first to know about the Cyber 5 results. With that, we are going to get started with some polls today. So there are 2 poll questions today, and the second one will be worth a $50 Amazon gift card. But in order to qualify, you have to answer both poll questions. So with our first poll question, we're going to launch here in a second. We are going to be asking you all, what did you shop for online during Black Friday or Cyber Monday? And which day had the highest AOV this Cyber 5? Give everybody a minute to answer. The winner will be contacted after this today. So you will receive an email after the webinar today to let you know if you have won. Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for participating in that. And now it is my honor to present to you our speaker today, Udain Bose, our founder and CEO at NetElixir. He's going to be taking us through the presentation today. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to submit them to the Q&A button at the bottom, and we will get started. So Udain, I will hand it on over to you.
Thank you very much, Erin. Thank you very much. This is my personally 14th Cyber 5 results presentation that I am doing, and it just was probably the craziest one that we just came out of. A lot of interesting trends, a lot of insights, and all this data essentially was collected by our NetElixir team. So even before I dive into the basis of the presentation, I really wanted to start by thanking each and every team member at NetElixir for all their hustle, because Cyber 5, the entire team is busy managing hundreds of accounts that we sort of work with. And on top of that, to really collect this data on a real-time basis means a lot. So thank you, guys. The basis of this presentation, we collected hourly search, marketing, and website data between Thanksgiving, so 00 hours of on Thanksgiving Day till about midnight on Cyber Monday. And we really aggregated it across about 6 different categories. And our proprietary customer intelligence technology, Elixir Insights, really helped us to gain a deep insight in terms of the shifts in the holiday consumer behavior as well. And there are quite a few. I'll just be taking you through quite a few quite massive changes that we really observed during this Cyber 5 as it really happened to the consumer behavior. And as I mentioned, this is our 14th annual Cyber 5 results report. And oh gosh, so much has changed in 14 years that we have been doing this. I'll start with the numbers, which I'm pretty sure all of you are pretty cognizant by now. It has been slow Cyber 5. Now, in our data set, and our data set comprises roughly about 30% each almost. So 30% of enterprise or large customers, 30%, about 40% of mid-sized customers, and about 30 to 35% of the smaller customers. That's our overall database. It's a pretty evenly distributed composition between large companies, mid-sized companies, and small companies. And I have some data to share on that as well. We saw for the Cyber 5, specifically Thanksgiving to Cyber Monday, actually the online sales or the website sales fell by about 7%, a little over 7%, in fact. While for the entire month of November, despite a slow Cyber 5, we saw the online sales grow by about 2.62%. Now, the interesting part was still about 20th of November, so 1st to 20th of November, the online sales on an aggregate basis for the same data set was growing almost at about 18%. But I think from 21st to 30th or till about Cyber 5, the numbers were really sort of pulled down just by a slower than anticipated performance across categories. We try to sort of plot it by region, and you would see that this decrease in e-commerce sales by about 7.3% was across the US. I mean, the Western region sort of slowed down or degrew by about 8%, Central about -8% as well, Northeast 5%, and South 7% as well. So this was interesting because across the country seems to, for some reason, people really spent lesser compared to what they did last year. We have tried to break it down further based on the size of the business, and this would be interesting because I know we have quite a few businesses or retailers joining us, probably from each one of these categories. So for the enterprise business, actually the growth was the slowdown was a little lesser compared to the other categories. So -1.1% degrowth happened. Or for mid-sized businesses, which is $25 million to about $250 million, it was about -4%. While for the smaller businesses, less than $25 million, the number was quite dramatically high at about 17%. Now, if you sort of break down these stats, you would see very clearly that the SMBs really got hit the worst because of the slowdown in the Cyber Monday sales, or probably because a lot of the enterprise and mid-sized companies were a little more adventurous, a little more creative, and a little more aggressive in terms of their promotional plan. They were able to really sort of get the consumers to really buy from them. But the small businesses really were facing a substantial amount of headwinds. One is the economic headwinds, but more importantly, they also sort of faced a pretty interesting and a tightly competitive market as well. For example, I'll share with you on the next slide, I believe. Yes, next slide, I think, as to how effectively areas like paid media for all of our clients, we sort of provide their or manage their paid media program, which is campaigns on Google, Facebook, and Instagram. We saw the CPCs, the cost per click, increase on Google by about 38% during this time, while the cost per 1,000 impressions, CPM, increased for Facebook and Instagram to about 47%. So that was quite a dramatic increase. So effectively, the small businesses were not only facing a slightly slower demand, but also at the same time, the advertising was a lot more expensive for them as well. So essentially, they were getting squeezed, and it was very difficult for them to really go ahead and just get the ROIs that they were expecting beginning of the season. Now, this is a pretty extensive chart, and let me try to explain this a little bit. So effectively, we have tried to, as I mentioned, track results on an hourly basis for these 6 categories: apparel, beauty, gifting, home improvement, hardware and tools, and pet supplies. The first column is the growth in online orders in the entire month of November, so 1st to 30th of November. And as you can see, apparel 20.9% is still a solid, robust holiday season growth. However, even for a category like apparel, during the Cyber 5, which is Thanksgiving to Cyber Monday, we saw that the entire growth slowed down to as low as about 6.5%. So this really sort of pulled down the overall apparel category sales. Now, apparel category sales prior to Cyber 5, or more specifically till about 20th of November, was going at about 32 to 35%. But because of a slower than expected Cyber 5, the entire percentage for November sort of came down quite substantially. Gifting is about -8. So there are a lot of reds out here. So gifting, home improvement, hardware and tool, pet supplies, all of them, the overall sales really degrew or shrank compared to what we experienced last year in November, as well as, of course, during Cyber 5 as well. There are a few reasons, and I'll sort of get into the reasons in more detail. And any questions you may have, please feel free to sort of ping on our Q&A box or on the chat box. We'll be more than happy to take those questions at the end of this presentation. Some of the parts that I really wanted to emphasize, I mean, I really wanted to highlight the paid media online orders as well. So one of the ways of really reading this paid media part, I mean, paid media campaigns are managed by us. So overall, 17% growth in apparel during Cyber 5. Despite that, the overall website growth was about 6.5%. So essentially, Google and Facebook did fairly well, but still it was unable to really go ahead and prevent an overall decline in the site revenues. And when we really analyze this further, we break it down based on a simple formula. The formula is, I mean, are you really getting fewer people to come to your website, which we call the traffic or the website visitors? Or are you really seeing a lower conversion rate, people coming to the website to sort of people converting and buying something on the website? Or is it a lower average order value? So people are not really spending as much effectively in this entire process. So interestingly, I mean, the average order value for most of this year has been consistently higher compared to last year. But during Cyber 5, we saw that the average order value also grew flat compared to last year as well. So we didn't really see any growth, but there was no negative also. So average order value was comparable this year versus last year. Then the next question was, are people converting at a lower rate? Now, interestingly, we saw that the people were not really also converting at a lower rate. So, I mean, the conversion rates were by and large the same, probably 1% lower compared to last year. So that very clearly pointed out that fewer number of people were coming to the website. Now, fewer number of people coming to the website, is it people were not really sort of in a mode to really sort of buy anything, or had they already completed their holiday purchases even before Cyber 5 started, or are people really looking at external sources for doing the research before coming to the website? The last point can have a tremendous implication for every business, because one of the key shifts that we saw during this holiday season, we believe, again, based on our data set, that the marketplaces, which is like Amazon Marketplace, Walmart, Etsy, and so on, they would have accounted for more than 55% of all the online sales which happened, or all the online shopping which happened, has happened on the marketplaces, and only about 45%, again, based on our data set, has happened on the website. Now, that's a pretty massive number. And effectively, just to give you a bit of a ballpark comparison, last year, this number was about 49% aggregate. The year previous to that, it was about 40%. I think all of us know the exponential growth in the marketplaces, but I mean, this is a very clear proof that there may be a bit of a shift in terms of the user buying trends. So understandably, we really had to look at the overall marketplace numbers as well. Now, marketplace numbers, by and large, were reasonable, but it was also not really as strong effectively as we had anticipated them to be. The return on investment was substantially higher on Amazon, while the overall number of visits as well as the number of orders really were not lower than anticipated as well. So effectively, I think it can be very safely claimed that fewer number of people essentially were in the shop mode during Cyber 5. Now, what could have been the reason? What are potentially some of the reasons is something which I think really sort of needs a much deeper discussion and almost like an analysis. And we have brought out some points, but I really wanted to sort of place it out there. The second point, which I think was pretty interesting when we were analyzing this data, despite paid media growing by 12.6%, still the overall online growth in online orders came down by 7.3%. That means there was a very clear reduction in people directly coming to the website or coming through other referring channels, probably even other referring sources as well. So that was an interesting one. In fact, this was for the first time that we have seen that even email as a percentage was lower compared to as a percent in terms of it degrew compared to what we had experienced last year as well. Normally, email to the existing database is one of those very bankable channels whereby you can really invest money and this sort of keeps on growing year on year. But interestingly, compared to last year, when it comes to the growth in online orders, we also saw that email as a channel degrew quite substantially across the board also. So it was by all means a very interesting and somewhat unexpected holiday season results as well that I wanted to share. Again, if you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer that. Please feel free to add to the chat box. Moving on, I think there are one observation which I really wanted to emphasize, which I thought was pretty interesting as the team when they shared with us the analysis data. This Cyber 5 may actually have created a bigger gap between the retailers that were successful and the others. We saw this was a very interesting case, and let me sort of quote a specific statistic which will help you to understand as to what I'm trying to do say. So normally, I mean, we see about 40 to 45% of, let us say, our data set or our client base, they are extremely successful during the holiday season, the regular holiday season. And about 30% is moderately successful, and we have a smaller percentage which is not as successful during the holiday season. This time, we believe that gap was substantially lower, substantially higher. For example, we saw that about 10% of the clients were extremely successful. Extremely in the sense, I mean, in many cases, we have, despite such an overall aggregated slow numbers, we in fact had at least 10% of the clients which grew by high double-digit percentages. Right? It's the same holiday season. They are again in the same beauty category, apparel category, tools category, hardware category, and so on. But on the other hand, there were about 90% which did not do well. And if you really break down the 90%, you would see that out of the 90%, at least 50% did pretty terribly almost, right? It is basically, I mean, their overall negative growth was extremely high. They degrew quite substantially. So we tried to establish and identify some of the traits, almost like what did the successful, what did these 10% of our clients do differently? I think the first thing which we sort of came up with, and this is again in no particular order as such, all of them, each one of them spent time with our team and created a holiday plan at least 2 months in advance. So the holiday plans were ready in the month of August, if not August, in September, definitely. And they had considered all the different scenarios. We had multiple sessions or rounds of whiteboarding and almost like a virtual whiteboarding and the scenario mapping. And the clients really came up with a plan A, plan B, and in certain cases, actually they came up with a plan C as well. So they were very well prepared getting into the season, and very clearly the percentage numbers really reflects that level of preparation. The second one is they had created a holiday promotion calendar by mid-September. All of the successful clients had their holiday calendar ready and started the promotions as early as October, because I think as a part of the planning process, we very clearly saw that the early shopping trends really would be extremely important this year. In fact, I mean, per our analysis, we believe about 30% of the shoppers may have shopped or completed their holiday shopping even before Cyber 5. Right? And they really sort of listened to this, discussed, debated, and just sort of worked internally to really create the promotions we started in the first week of October itself. Most importantly, the promotions were kept fresh. They were constantly changing the promotion because the calendar was so well built out. The merchandising was aligned, the marketing was aligned. I mean, all the different departments were aligned. And we all knew that getting into the season, the stock, the inventory would be a struggle. And we had a plan for that as well. And we were very heavily referring to the holiday calendar that we had published in the month of September to plan the promotions. So I don't remember a single discussion with these clients where we did not really refer back to the holiday calendar. So we were able to get back to really sort of collaborating and creating a holiday or a promotional calendar, which was very granular, broken down to the individual day level. In certain cases, it was actually broken down to a day part level as well, a specific hour having a particular promotion. So that level of preparation really showed very clearly. The third one was all of these clients, the 10% highly successful clients during this very competitive and difficult and slow Cyber 5, they all engaged in full funnel omni-channel marketing, pretty much from the beginning of the year. And they placed equal emphasis on building or creating brand awareness along with demand gen campaigns. So we saw a very unique trend. The trend was any of our clients who had really focused on the full funnel marketing and really started to sort of use Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, TikTok, all the other sources, and just really sort of build out the funnel, they were able to get that level of brand recognition, which really helped them tremendously during the holiday season. On the other hand, the customers who really focused on the retailers who really focused on only the demand and only the bottom of the funnel campaign, they essentially had a really difficult time, because for them, they were constantly really sort of torn between, should I really try to really focus on my ROI or should I really get more customers? And that became a struggle. The last but not the least is we had combined with the successful clients really built something called a holiday operating system. It's an important concept because getting into the season, I think if you really look at the third quarter or the second quarter, the numbers were all over the place. I mean, Q1 in 2021 was very strong in terms of online sales. Q2, suddenly the sales tanked. Q3, back to school was very tepid. And in certain cases, it was a very uneven, let us say, Q2 and Q3. As a result of which, to reduce the level of uncertainty going into the holiday season, we had collaborated with the clients to build something called a holiday operating system, whereby someone from the client's team as well as our entire team, we would be working 24/7. And we would be sort of executing with extreme nimbleness. When we say executing, not only executing, but making decisions as well. What should change? What product should we focus on? What promotion should be run? Let us sort of pause this promotion. Let us activate this particular campaign. So it was like almost like a relentless, almost like a 5 days non-stop 24/7 decision making as well as execution, which we believe, or at least it is our absolutely confident that these are some of the reasons which definitely help them succeed. Because if you really look at the categories, as I mentioned, the categories where the same categories we had some retailers who may not have been as successful. So effectively, I think it's extremely important for businesses to really sort of treat these holiday seasons as probably that time of the year when they are competing with the best in the industry, and the competition is at the highest level. So that's the reason that level of planning definitely is something that we would recommend. Moving on, we also tried to plot the day-by-day e-commerce growth during the Cyber 5. And this is again aggregate across all the clients and all the different categories. So Cyber Monday was slow. Cyber Monday for our database was almost about 8.1% down compared to last year. Super Sunday and Small Business Saturday were relatively not as much in terms of impacted. Thanksgiving, Black Friday were fairly impacted as well. So it is not just that 1 or 2 days where there was an overall online sales slump. The online sales slump hit really both Cyber Monday as well as Black Friday pretty hard. And that was a big reason why during the Cyber 5, the overall for these 5 days, the actual online sales volume sort of came down by 7.3%, as I mentioned. Now, I must mention that there is obviously a lot of research from Adobe, their sort of overall summary, etc., have come out. Our numbers are very clearly based on this customer mix. So we have, as I mentioned, in our overall data set, about 30% who are very large customers, enterprise as we call it. Then we have about 30 to 35% who are the mid-sized customers. And then the rest are smaller customers. We feel that this is probably the most homogeneous or equivalently created sort of an overall data set. And hence, I think these numbers, we are confident are more representative of as to how the actual online sales were during Cyber 5 compared to any comparable source, including Adobe. Moving on the orders day by day. So we wanted to track what was the contribution to the overall Cyber 5 revenue by a specific or a particular day. And we wanted to compare it with last year as well. Now, remember, last year we were in the midst of the pandemic, the vaccines were not out yet, and the online shopping levels were a lot higher as such. So if you really compare, Thanksgiving last year was about 10%. It increased to about 13%. So people seem to have started their shopping process during Cyber 5 a little earlier on Thanksgiving. And Cyber Monday, as you would see, fell from 30% to 28%, the overall contribution. So essentially, there was a very clear trend in trying to shop earlier than later is, I think, what has been the entire theme of this season. Black Friday was roughly the same, 25%, both last year as well as this. So the other days are pretty much the same. It was basically some of the Cyber Monday got shifted to Thanksgiving. People sort of started making those purchases a little earlier as well. So that was, I think, one of the trends which is prominent. So which really sort of warrants a pretty important question, because normally if you really look at it, the years prior to 2020, Cyber Monday used to be the biggest day by far in terms of online shopping. But in this case, as you can see, I mean, the gap between Cyber Monday and Black Friday, though it is pretty high, but it is still 3%, right? 28% versus 25% contribution. Just last year, it was 5%, right? It used to be had consistently anywhere between 5 to 10% in the previous years. So the question is, Cyber Monday, as we all know, is a very clear, almost like a promotion-induced day that was created. Effectively, in a time like this, when the promotions were probably not as attractive, and when the inventory was a challenge, did Cyber Monday have a lesser relevance in the overall scheme of things when you consider the entire Cyber 5 as a whole? And even more importantly, the other question which sort of comes to mind is today's consumer seems to be a lot more savvy compared to just a couple of years back. And when you really sort of analyze, we have, let us say, the Gen Z that we talk about, the Gen Z, at least about 30% of the Gen Z, those who are like 20 to 24 years of age, they have buying power as well. They probably prefer to research a lot. They also really sort of make their decisions based on a lot of the social influences, what is going on. And they're a lot more savvy or well-informed shoppers compared to what we have seen earlier as well. So if the promotions were not really as attractive, and if the variety is not something which is exceptional, then there is no reason for Gen Z probably to buy. The reason I think it's an important trend, and it's probably an important hypothesis at this point in time, because I mean, this just based on 2 years of data, it's very difficult to make a comment which is as strong as what I'm trying to make here. But this is an important one for all the businesses really to take a note of, because Gen Z's clout over the next 5 years or 10 years would only become stronger. So that's something to sort of think of as we really just get into the entire discussion of this thing. So I saw that a question has come in, and the question is, how strongly do you feel Cyber 5 performance was affected by retailers pushing promotions and offers as early as mid-October and their own suggestions to shop due to the supply? I think that's a great question. We have very clear proof that almost about 30% of the online shop may have been already complete even before the Cyber 5 started. And just to give you a bit of a reference, this percentage store I'm looking for, etc., etc. But that's a great question. Absolutely, we believe that there is an impact because of that. Moving on to the next slide, I think this one probably was a surprise. One of the questions which was asked by Erin in the poll was which was the biggest day in terms of average order size. Now, very interestingly, and this is probably the first time that we have done the research in the last 14 years that we have seen this, Thanksgiving was the highest average order size day, which is extremely counterintuitive because normally it has always been either Cyber Monday or Black Friday. I mean, Black Friday came close, but as you can see, typically who had to shop? I mean, it seems that some shoppers wanted to shop during Cyber 5 and the others did not want to shop during Cyber 5, unless and until they got something which was really exceptional, right? Or they really had a need to really engage in shopping. And those who wanted to shop, they already made their purchases early, probably because a lot of the promotions were started earlier in the week, and the same promotions continued through the entire Thanksgiving week. But this is the first time that we have been doing this research since the last 14 years, that we are seeing that the Thanksgiving average order value is higher compared to any other day, which is a very interesting situation. Again, something which really supports the point that I was trying to make, that today's shopper is a lot more informed, and we firmly believe that many of the digital natives who really have now the buying power, they are really going to drive a much more informed overall buying process going forward. It will be extremely important for any business or any marketer to really try to engage, understand, first of all, I would say observe, understand, and engage with these high value shoppers, or let us say the Gen Z or the digital natives, and the millennials also for most parts are all digital natives, right? It's a very different sort of a buying process that we are seeing, which has come in. Question that has just come in is any data around growth of social commerce or use of shoppable media? We have some insights of it, not too much. I think overall in terms of social commerce, we believe that there was an uptick. We don't exactly have the quantified number, unlike what we have for just the Facebook, Instagram, overall as an advertising platform. Moving on to the three holiday shopping trends. Again, the first question that was asked have experienced, the retailers have experienced this. The first one is, which one was interesting, not something that is completely surprising, but mobile phones drove 58% of all online orders this year, during the month of November. And both for fashion and beauty categories, mobile phones drove 75% of all the orders. So very clearly, mobile is the primary channel. And we believe that it will continue to sort of become stronger and stronger, to the level of probably in the next, about by 2025, you can expect 75% plus of all the online shopping happening through the mobile devices. Early shoppers may have completed their purchase prior to Cyber 5. Again, as I mentioned earlier, we saw a substantial year-on-year increase in online sales between October 18th and November 20th. In fact, I mean, that really prompted us to really revise our initial fairly conservative overall holiday forecast. But as I mentioned, this has been a year of surprise, and it just seems that a lot of people were trying to complete. Almost like 30% of the shoppers may have already completed their holiday purchases prior to Cyber 5. Three key factors which I think had a very important role to play this year. The first one was product stockouts. So there was this constant fear of not really being able to buy the item that I really want to purchase. So the stockouts really played an important role. Price increases, of course, the inflationary part across the categories, everything is more expensive almost, and the lower than usual discounts. So all these three had really an important contribution or an impact in terms of really defining the Cyber 5 overall revenues and the demand. However, when we really analyze our data set, we feel that the impact, when you say the impact, the revenue lost due to stockouts may have been lower than 5% of total. So it's an interesting observation, primarily because if you remember, there was a huge hue and cry about a month back or even 3 weeks back in terms of how much holiday stockouts would really impact the online sales during the holidays and so on and so forth. We feel that most of the businesses were fairly well prepared, or at least better prepared compared to they were about a month back. But unfortunately, I think the lack of demand could have been just advancing of the purchases, as I mentioned, completing the purchases earlier, or the lack of demand probably because I think the right price was not there, had a bigger impact rather than just a stock out. We believe if we were to quantify, not more than 5% of the total revenue loss would have happened just because of the stock outs. I think the price increases with less attractive discounts have very clearly led to a suppressed demand during Cyber 5. So that's a very clear observation. Those are the three things which we saw very clearly. What were the top day parts? We also wanted to see if there was any shift in the holiday shopping behavior, because we have been keeping a track of the consumer behavior shifts during COVID, and we believe very clearly, and we are seeing very clear based on the data that we have collecting through our customer intelligence platform, Elixir Insights. We have very clear first-hand proof the consumer behavior is changing or shifting. Right? So we wanted to check whether the pandemic has caused some fundamental or almost like permanent changes in terms of when do people shop online. And this is the overall numbers. I'll share with you 3 slides. One is 2021, this year, this Cyber 5. I'll also share with you last year's number as well, which was the overall the pandemic holiday season. And then I'll share with you, just for comparison's sake, so that you're able to understand in a very direct term as to how much this consumer behavior shifted, the 2018 numbers as well. So let me explain this, the day parts. So 6.38% or 6.4% of all the sales that happened during Cyber 5, which is Thanksgiving to Cyber Monday, happened between midnight to 6 a.m. 32% happened between 6 a.m. to noon. 33% happened between noon to 6 p.m. and 28% happened between 6 p.m. to midnight, right? So it's just keep those things in mind. Specifically, I would request you to focus on the 6 p.m. to midnight and essentially 6 a.m. to noon. So just look at the second bar and the third bar. Now, these are so 32% and 28%. Let me share with you the comparable stats for last year. So last year, 31% was 6 a.m. to noon, and 27.3% was 6 p.m. to midnight. So not much of a change. We were all spending a lot of time indoors. There was a lot of online shopping, and we didn't really sort of go to the malls as much. So as a result of which, even on Black Friday, there was a lot of purchases which were sort of happening online. My question is, I mean, what happened this year? Because this year, I think I would have expected 6 p.m. to midnight be a lot stronger, right? Because that's when I think a lot of online purchases happen. But again, many of us are still working from home, or at least have a hybrid model in many cases. Probably that's the reason I think the 6 p.m. to midnight, rather than that, it just gets spread out the entire day. Two questions. The first question is, what does it really mean in terms of how the online marketers really sell and advertise their products? And the second part is, if you really look at the entire holiday shopping ecosystem, which includes the brick and mortar as well as the online, what does it really mean effectively in the long run in terms of the importance of physically being present on during the basically Black Friday and actually shopping in person? So even though it was I'm using the word purposefully just because we were unable to do that last year, refreshing to see people sort of going into the stores to really make purchases. But on Saturday, for example, I personally visited our neighborhood mall, the Quaker Bridge Mall in Princeton, and I had literally 5 people in front of me in the line at Macy's. So from that perspective, I think, is online fundamentally, has it shifted the skew, or has the skew shifted fundamentally towards online? Is something which needs to be asked. Let me now that you have 2021 as a overall number, and you have the 2022, so both of them can be clubbed as pandemic, and as we are emerging from the pandemic overall time frame, let us look at the 2018 numbers as well. This is the 2018 chart, right? When and 28th was Thanksgiving, and 2nd December was. Look at the 6 p.m. to midnight. 34.3% of all the online sales happened between 6 p.m. and midnight. As that percentage has come down to 28%. Now, given the quantum of sales, that is a massive shift. That's a massive shift, right? And if you look again, sort of going back, 23.3% happened between 6 a.m. to noon. And that percentage has now comfortably sort of come beyond 31%, going 30% this year. So very clearly, there is a substitution happening. And this is the proof of that, right? So there has been a lot of write-ups, a lot of writing that, I mean, some people essentially saying, so effectively the substitution is happening. So the question we have many retailers joining us today, and we have many of you who really have your physical store presence. The question is it time for you to rethink or reimagine the future of in-store presence, or reimagine the future of brick and mortar as well, right? Is an in-store presence more of a merchandising and strengthening the overall brand association and the relationship that you have with the customer? Can you really think of utilizing your brick and mortar presence to really strengthen that? But based on the data, and this is not really a trivial data, because 2018 versus 2021, we're talking about a substantial chunk of time. The drop or the shift is quite massive. 34.3% falling down to about 28% by any means and every means is extremely high. This is something that I would request none of the retailers should really sort of be ignoring this trend, because this trend can really become extremely big and extremely prominent as you really sort of just build your entire merchandising retailing plan for the future holiday season as well. So again, 2 or 3 concepts. The first concept is Gen Z and the millennials are digital natives. They are having a much greater clout, very clearly. So they are willing to wait prior to making a purchase. They'll do a lot more research, a lot more informed decision making. The second one is just this entire shift as to when people shop. Very clearly, it seems to point towards a slow but steady shift from a physical in-store purchase to an online purchase. So those are the 2 things I really wanted to call out very specifically in this case. Let me move on to my next insight in this one, which is more on the mobile phone impact. How big was the impact of mobile this year? And so during Cyber 5, I mentioned that 58% of site-wide orders during entire month of November came through mobile devices. 62% during Cyber 5 happened on mobile. And I'm asking myself a question, what percentage and what was the split within that 62% that may have happened while people were actually in store? while you are probably sort of standing in the queue to the checkout counter, where you will sort of just out searching and browsing, effectively using our mobile devices. We don't have the data, but something to really sort of worth considering as well. So mobile very clearly is the dominant, the dominant or the predominant device out here. One of the caveats or the challenges of mobile is basically the lower average order value. The average order value is about 46% lower than the desktop. So we have to really figure out a way whereby, and we are seeing that this percentage has been consistently lower than the desktop for a long time. So again, the question there is, are there certain categories whereby you should really use this insight to market in a slightly different way? Slightly different way in the sense, almost like tracking and understanding the customer journey and just trying to serve them the ad which is very personalized to what they are sort of searching for. Moving on, we wanted to share, this is more of the mobile share by category. The one that I really wanted to point out is pet supplies, because I mean, I really got the team to double check the data, because 36% impression share of mobile, but 55% orders. So, I mean, we double checked and triple checked all these numbers, and very clearly it means that the folks who are really going to pet supply websites using mobile devices are likely to place an order through mobile device as well, a lot more compared to any other category as such. But that was pretty interesting to see that the percentage contribution of mobile to the mobile orders for pet supply category being 55%, while the impression share is lower at 36%. So it's interesting to see as to how the overall shoppers really use mobile for different categories in a different way to make purchases. This is an interesting one that we have been tracking. So we wanted to just test or try to get some data to validate one of the hypotheses we had. The hypothesis was the quantum of innovation during the COVID times, the pandemic times may have gone up, right? So people are coming up with more product innovations during this time. Well, I mean, so what we try to do is we try to plot what was the percentage contribution of within each category, which was really accounted for by products which had been launched in 2021. So, for example, fashion and apparel, not a surprise, because a lot of the customers in our database are actually fast fashion customers. So 92% was essentially from products which had been launched during 2021. But other categories, 54%, 73% beauty, again to be understood probably. There was no clear trend that we were able to sort of see, which really validated our hypothesis or devalidated our hypothesis that we have gotten more creative in terms of product innovations during the holiday season. But there were certain instances very clearly where we saw that some businesses really had used product innovation as a big differentiator during the holiday season to really leapfrog the competition. And I talked to you about 10% of the entire data set who were extremely successful during Cyber 5. Actually, at least 50% of the data set had really focused on product innovation as a massive differentiator, and the results very clearly justify the amount of emphasis that they have really placed on innovation as such. Let me pass it on to Erin for the second poll.
Awesome. Thank you, Dane. So we are going to be asking our second poll question. And for those of you who were here before, you may have had a little sneak peek as to what it was, but we will be testing your knowledge right now. So feel free to submit those answers. Let us know again what you shopped online for and which day had the highest average order value on Cyber 5. You can submit those answers right now, and the winner will be contacted after today with a $50 Amazon gift card. Very exciting. Awesome. Thank you so much. I'll hand it back to you.
Thank you very much, Erin. I'll just sort of quickly wrap up because I'm getting some timing warnings as always. But just quickly, we'll be sharing this presentation deck with all the attendees, essentially, yes. And if you have, again, any questions, feel free to add it to the Q&A box or the chat box. So moving on, what is our outlook for the remainder of the 2021 holiday season? So we were talking internally and said that at this point in time, is it even fair to say, because this has been such a roller coaster holiday season, I mean, is it even fair to say that there can be any level of accuracy in terms of forecasting as to what the remainder of the holiday season really holds for us? but we nevertheless really still remain optimistic. Optimistic because a couple of reasons. I think the first reason is there is still a tremendous amount of pent-up demand. There is a lot of pent-up demand still in the overall US economy. I think that at some point in time definitely has to come out, and we believe that will happen in December. The second, which is just purely, if 30% of the people have really completed their holiday shopping, that means 70% have not completed their holiday shopping, right? So if 70% have not completed, and we have seen that the Cyber 5 has not been as strong as we had anticipated it to be, then they have to shop at some point in time, unless they are not really into the holiday gifting at all. So from that perspective, we feel that we will see a bit of a surge over the next about 10 to 12 days when it comes to the holiday shopping and the holiday purchases as well. So this is our forecast for December, basically this month, and our overall revised projections for the online orders growth in the entire holiday season, the November plus December. We believe apparel will grow at 13%, higher than the 6.35% that we saw during Cyber 5. Beauty and cosmetics, we believe, will grow by about 17%. Gifting has been suppressed quite substantially, and we believe that gifting will pick up. Home improvement, unfortunately, we think it will still continue to be slow. It will pick up a little bit, but still compared to last year was a massive year. And home improvement and hardware and tools would really have to, they would have to see some unprecedented, almost like a demand spike to see that numbers change quite dramatically. And the same applies for pet supplies because the base last year was extremely high, just because people were shopping a lot more online. So total, we believe that there would be still a 7% growth in online orders, December 2021 versus December 2020. And if you really aggregate 2.62% of November and 7% of December, the total average comes to about 5%, which means that we are actually revising down our original growth projection for the entire holiday season from 6% to about 5% year-on-year growth. When we came out with the 6% projection in September, we were labeled the most conservative projection any company had come out with, whether it is eMarketer, whether it is Adobe, whether it is anyone. And interestingly, never had we for even a moment thought that ours would be probably not as conservative. The numbers actually are even more conservative compared to what we had predicted it to be. So that's how unpredictable this entire holiday season is. But this would be our revised projection essentially for the entire holiday season. I'll just sum up with concluding remarks. Some of the observations and comments, and the idea here is try to trigger some thought process in all of the retailers, all of the businesses who are sort of joining us today. The first one is the consumer behavior may have changed in more ways than anticipated, right? People are researching more prior to a purchase, willingness to wait for a good deal, a greater propensity to really just go ahead and shop and save, the social influence, increase in need-based shopping. So all of these effectively are something which we believe are here to stay. And any marketer or any e-commerce business, I think, would do well to really pay heed to some of these trends, because these can actually and already are assuming the size or proportion of a mega trend. And some of the stuff, I think it is extremely important for businesses to really sort of pay notice to these changes. We expect the mobile shopping to account for 75% plus of all holiday purchases by 2025. That's a huge number, understand it. Per eMarketer, non-voice mobile time spent in the US has increased from 3 hours and 45 minutes to about 4 hours and 16 minutes, a huge 14% increase when you compare how many people are using mobile phones, right? And this is an average number overall. And eMarketer sort of forecast that this number would have increased to 4 hours and 23 minutes this year. So something to think of. Again, think mobile first. I would even probably sort of make a case for thinking mobile only in many cases. We expect marketplaces to account for 55% of the holiday purchases this holiday season. I've already discussed that. SMBs really face a difficult choice for the remainder of this holiday season regarding their marketing mix. Should they compete by offering a higher discount with the hope of luring in additional shoppers? The challenge is they will have to sacrifice margins. Or should they focus on margins and accept low sales volume, thereby sacrificing market share, sort of getting the bigger companies to really get their customers? It's a difficult choice. And that's the reason I think I can't really emphasize the importance of what I mentioned in terms of some of the four characteristics of the high performing 10%, where they sort of planned early. They really started in the month of January rather than starting in the month of November, their entire holiday planning. They focus entirely on full funnel marketing, and they really sort of collaborated with us in creating an entire plan, which obviously has delivered results in a holiday season which is as unpredictable as this one. The last but not the least, the massive inflation in search and social CPCs and CPMs, in our opinion, may not be sustainable through the entire holiday season, because at some point in time, it is really sort of impacting your return on investments. So it's extremely important to have a high level of expertise if you are advertising. You can't really sort of pull out of advertising, because then your competitors essentially will get your customers, right? Or get the share of voice. So it's a very thin line between how aggressive can you be and how prudent you can be in terms of how you really invest your media budget or marketing dollars. And it's extremely, extremely important to really have a high level of campaign management, whether it is search, shopping, Amazon ads, whatever campaign that you are doing. To have a very high level of sophistication and expertise is really needed to compete in this intensely competitive arena. So that's what I would sort of end with. Thank you again. I'll be more than happy to answer the questions at the end of it, and let me pass it on to Erin at this time.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Udain. That was wonderful. I want to continue on real quick and let everyone know about our Say No to Average. We are now going to be offering you all a free demo of our Elixir Insights. So what this is this is our own proprietary tool, which allows us to really find those high value customers for you. So above and beyond the average. And today, as a member, as joining us today for the webinar, we're going to be offering everybody a free demo. So if you're interested in scheduling that, you can check out elixirinsights.com. And with that, we are going to do a quick live Q&A. We had one come through the Q&A box just now. Udain, does jewelry fall within the gifting category?
Jewelry does not fall within the gifting category, Erin. We have not considered jewelry for this research, but the jewelry does not fall under the gifting category. No.
Okay, so would it be under apparel?
Yeah, it's more of a gift product. It's more of things like, we have taken the holiday cards as well. Yes, people still give out a lot of many holiday cards, and a lot of holiday gifting items also. But jewelry is not a part of this group.
Gotcha. Awesome. Thank you. Do you have any insight as to uptick in spending on travel?
That's a great question. Actually, that was asked by one of our team members yesterday to me as well. We have not really seen any massive uptick during Cyber 5. Now, we also have to really be cognizant of the fact that on Black Friday, the Omicron scare really started on Black Friday. And you probably would remember that the sales tanked. I'm sorry, the stock market sort of went down quite substantially as well. So we feel that has had an impact in terms of people getting a little more conservative in terms of their overall spending behavior during Cyber 5. Unfortunately, it happened on Black Friday when many of the travel retailers, for that is the biggest day essentially. So we feel that had an impact which was a little negative, and overall, as a result of which the travel accessories or travel retail was pretty moderate during the entire Cyber 5.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. With that, I just want to thank everybody for joining us today. Thank you, Udain, for this fantastic presentation. As a reminder, if you head to elixirinsights.com, you will be able to request a free demo on our Elixir Insights and Say No to Average. And we thank you again so much. Happy holidays, everybody.
Thank you very much, everyone. Happy holidays.
Bye.